It's time to talk to Sonia from Bryan Insurance Agency on today's topic of some driving tips for back to school.
Yes, Rick. Since summer has come to a close, school started back again this week. That means there's increased traffic on the roads from college kids who are packed up in their cars going back to school, parents dropping off and picking up kids from school, and even some new drivers that may have gotten their license over the summer. There's going to be more traffic congestion, and distracted driving can create dangerous road conditions, and so I thought we would talk about some safe driving tips. It is estimated that between 2014 to 2015 that the U.S. traffic deaths increased by nearly 8%, and a lot of the times when there is a bad accident, it is because of distracted driving, not necessarily cell phone, but just distracted driving. So anyway, I think it's something we all need to stop and think about of safe ways that we can drive, since we know there's going to be more people out there on the road.
Well, the thing is about the distracted driving, you don't only affect the person who's doing the distracted driving, it's the people around them too. So it's a double-edged sword.
That's right. So the first tip that I have, and it probably sounds silly, but wear your seatbelt and make sure that everyone in your car is wearing their seatbelt. And if you have any children that have to be in the booster seats or the car seats, make sure that they're in there and safe. It's a proven fact that seatbelts save lives, and so I thought that would be the first thing we would talk about today. Wear your seatbelt. Even if you're just going around the block, wear your seatbelt. Make sure everyone in your car is safely has their seatbelt on, or they're in their proper car seat or booster seat.
Well, think about a seatbelt. Not only is it something smart to do, but it's also the law in Texas.
Well, of course, yes. And so there's a good reason for that. The second thing is to plan and allow for extra traffic time. Now, we probably laugh around Graham. We think, well, we don't really have traffic, and that's true compared to larger cities. We don't. But there are going to be parents dropping their kids off at school. They're, may not be used to the routine. So, and I don't know about everyone else, but me, if I'm running late, it might be a time where I'm not going to be as careful. So the best thing to do is leave early enough, plan for a little extra time. The worst thing is you could get there a little early to drop your kids off, but at least you're not having an accident because you got in a hurry because you didn't allow for extra time.
And a lot of the rural cities that we go to, you got to think about also a little extra time because you might have that combine on the highway, or you might have that tractor on the highway, or something like that. That way you don't have to worry about hurrying.
That's right. And then the third one is another thing that is a law, but it's still important to bring it up, is observe speed limits, and especially in the school zones. And don't ask me how I know this, but if you get pulled over speeding in a school zone, you will get a ticket here in Graham, Texas. So we might think, well, the high school doesn't really count because those kids drive crazy. Yeah, the high school counts. If it's a school zone, or if it's not a school zone, follow the speed limit. Do not increase the speed limit, because that is one way you can get in an accident fast.
And that's pretty much goes for all school districts out in the area.
That's right. And then the fourth one is, again, we'll bring it up again, avoid distracted driving. It's easy to be distracted, and we always think of our cell phones, but there's other things. You could be changing the radio. You could be turning around to talk to your kid in the back seat. There's lots of things that can distract us. And when we're driving, we just need to drive and don't be looking around at all the other things that could be distracting us, but just look at the road ahead of us and just be careful.
One of the things that I read one time about distracted driving, a lot of people do this, is when you carry your pet in the car. A lot of people will try to deal with that pet while they're in the car and cause a lot of problems there. So if you're carrying pets, children, or anything else like that, please keep you on the road.
That's right. Now, number 5, have a plan for roadside assistance. Especially when we think about sending our kids off, because that may be the first time if they're going off to college or even to high school, and maybe they're going to be driving home late or from a game or something like that. Make sure that whoever is occupying and driving your vehicle knows what they're supposed to do if they do need roadside assistance, whether it's a flat tire, mechanical problem, whatever. Make sure that you know what your plan is going to be, and that everyone in your family knows who to call, what to do, so that you're not trying to figure that out at 2 a.m. on a dark night in the rain or something like that. So just make sure that you have a plan for that roadside assistance.
If you have a number, put it in your phone. That way you've already got it there. You don't have to look it up, call somebody or whatever. You already have your plan, your number, and who you have to call.
Right. And then the last one, my last tip is to have your updated proof of insurance with you. I think it's a well-known fact that insurance agents' families have a tough time keeping up with those cards, but that's just a little joke between Rick and me. But in all reality, make sure that every vehicle that is in your household, that it has a current auto ID card in it. And then also there's all kinds of apps. You can have those on your phone, so you can, there's all kinds of ways to keep up with those. But make sure that all of your drivers have those updated auto ID cards, proof of insurance in the vehicle with them.
All these tips you need to follow, look at, because, insurance on vehicles is so expensive, and the more problems you have driving, the more it's going to cost you down the line. And, with all the limits and things like that, medical limits and that you have on your policy, you really have to be careful out there too, because without the right side of limits, you could really send yourself into bankruptcy in no time with a car wreck.
Oh, yes, you sure can. And nobody wants anything like that to happen. That's why they're called accidents. But anytime you can prevent an accident, you are ahead of the game. And so I think knowledge is power, and do what you can to prevent those accidents. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We just want to have good things about back to school and not bad things.
If folks need to get a hold of you, ask any questions about their insurance or anything like that, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, there's three ways you can call us: 940-549-2525. You can visit us on the web at www.bryanins.com. Or you can come see us. We're on the second floor of the Sierra Bank building here in downtown Graham, Texas.
Give them a call today for all your insurance needs. That's Bryan Insurance Agency, serving Graham for almost 100 years. We have more coming up. Stay tuned here on Your Lincoln Leader.